Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown, the unofficial sumo podcast for official sumo fans. Welcome to Grand Sumo Breakdown. My name is Ryan.
This is Mac.
This is Flerick.
Hold on, Jake. I believe we have a little bit of business to conduct. Mac, why don't you introduce Jake?
Ahoy, hoy. Yokozuna Jake. Welcome to our podcast.
That is correct. Mac lost the prediction series again.
Hi.
And if you listen to our preview episode, you would know that one of the choices for the loser was the winner's choice. And so Jake, as the winner...
Yokozuna Jake.
I don't have to do that because I didn't lose.
But I do.
Yes.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Hi.
So one of the choices for Jake was to be called Yokozuna Jake by the loser at least 5 times during the episode.
We can top that.
Oh, I'm sure. So yeah, that's what's going on there. But kind of moving on to actually breaking news, really. Right before we started recording this episode, we saw from at least 3 or 4 different sources that Haruma Fuji is officially retiring after the whole Takanoiwa beer bottle scandal.
The Harumagazi scandal.
The Harumagazi scandal.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like his stable master, Isegahama, said Grand Champion Haruma Fuji has decided to retire as a sumo wrestler to take responsibility of his assault on a lower-ranked wrestler.
Sad day.
Yeah, and this comes only like a day or two after the Japan Sumo Association said they were not going to recommend retirement for Haruma Fuji until after like the police reports and all of that come in.
Mm-hmm. They did have, I think just yesterday, I know the chairman called in like all the rikishi from every single stable, except Haruma Fuji, and pretty much yelled at them for like an hour saying no more violence in sumo. So maybe that had something to do with it.
It's going to be tough, but...
Yeah, I mean, other than, all day at practice and for 2 weeks straight at the basho. But other than that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, other than that.
No
Tension's
violence.
got to run a little high on these basho, right?
Yeah, especially for people who aren't allowed to show emotion publicly. But yeah, as far as this whole thing goes, we don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this. We already discussed this a lot in our midway episode. Nothing's really changed much.
Other than the official
official retirement. And I think Flerick had a few things about Takanohana. Takanoe was stable master.
Yeah, we didn't really mention too much of his kind of stake in it. So I just kind of want to catch people up on that. Takanohana, for people who don't know, he is the former Yokozuna from the 90s, and he's actually Takanoiwa's Oyakata, or he's his boss, essentially. He's kind of known as a bit of a reformist, and he has had some radical ideas on how to change sumo. Some things like he wanted to apparently abolish the stable system and give wrestlers freedom similar to professional athletes in any other sport. But there is a huge backlash from people when he said that, and so he pretty much kind of backpedaled on that. But he's kind of has those kind of low ideas, and some people aren't really a big fan of him. It kind of comes down to like the older people really don't like him, but he has some kind of fans from the younger Oyakata are stable masters, and so it's kind of like new guard versus old guard.
And he has his eyes on like presidency of the JSA or something like
chairmanship?
that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Hakaku is the current guy right now, and so yeah, he's kind of fixing to do that. And a lot of people think that everything that's going on right now is just a political ploy for him to make him look bad and make himself look good.
Yeah. And I think it'd be interesting to see him get that position. I don't think it'll happen, but does anybody have any final thoughts? Like I said, we don't want to spend too much time on this. I think we're going to do kind of a bonus episode about Haruma Fuji.
Yeah, I just want to say I blame Kakuryu. He didn't show leadership. That's what this really comes down to. So
if only. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, cue the angry old farm dad. The wrong Yokozuna retired. Like, I don't know.
I think if Takanoa took his training more seriously, his skull might be a little bit harder and be able to take those. Never mind.
Oh man!
All right, so
we'll break the tension with humor.
Yeah,
definitely.
We just cover our sadness for the whole situation with humor.
I guess to wrap it up with my feelings is this makes me very sad, but I see why it happens.
Yeah, and so that would make Haruma Fuji's last official match against Takakeisho getting his Kinboshi over Haruma Fuji, which I correctly predicted in our preview episode. So moving on to the.
Yeah, and how'd that do for
I did not lose. That's how it did for
you?
me.
Yeah, that's fair.
So moving on.
I got a point this time. I wasn't skunked. I got a point. I'm getting better.
We'll get there. We'll talk about that more in depth a little bit later. But let's move on to the Kyushu Basho results. We have our winner Hakuho taking home his 40th Yusho championship, which is definitely the most of all time.
By 8.
By 8, yeah. I don't remember who was second, but
That would be Taiho with 32.
guy was in like the 50s and 60s?
Yep.
All right.
So not only does he have the most ring appearances and victories, he also has the most Yusho of any other Rikishi.
I've
Does
got
he
a few
have
more fun
the most
facts for later,
ring
too.
appearances?
I don't.
No, he does not have most ring appearances.
Oh,
he has the
I
most
retract that.
wins.
He has the most wins. Not. And his next goal is to get like 1,000 in Makuuchi. Yeah. So he can get that within the next 2 or 3 Basho, I believe.
Yeah, he's in the 1060s.
Yeah. So we had 4 people tie for the June Yusho winner. Not 100% sure how it works, but I believe they each just are the June Yusho winner. At 11-4, Hakuho was 14-1, by the way. At 11-4, we had Oki no Umi, who was a Maegashira 12. Maegashira 12 East. Takakeisho, who was Maegashira 1 West. We had Tamawashi, who was Maegashira 1 East. And Hokuto Fuji, who was Maegashira 3 West. All of those guys were very impressive and took home the June Yusho. A couple of those guys that we mentioned are taking home special prizes as well. We have the Gino Show Technique Award going to Hokuto Fuji. So let's just talk about Hokuto Fuji a little bit more. And okay, I will do that because he is now my definitive favorite. I love him. He seems to show the most attitude out of anybody out there. He's got the big, strong stomps before the match officially begins. He's got just a confident swagger after he dominates somebody, pushes them out of the dojo, walks back to his position to bow down to each other. He just looks like when he's healthy, he's just a strong, powerful guy that's got a lot of potential to be a future Ozeki, I think.
Even more so than Hakuho? Like more swagger than Hakuho?
Okay, so Hakuho is on a whole nother level of everything than anybody. But yeah, I would say Hokuto Fuji is probably the second most attitude.
He's on his way?
He's on his way, yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, he's badass and he knows it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah. And then moving on, we had 2 Fighting Spirit Awards, the Kanto Show, given out. One to Okinoumi, as we mentioned earlier, and also one to Amanishiki, who finished at 8-7, but he is a 39-year-old sumo wrestler who made his way back to the Makuuchi division after a year down at Juryo recovering from some sort of leg injury.
I believe it was a knee, but I can't remember for sure.
Yeah, you can see like a huge bandage on his like right knee, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the first time that we personally have seen him wrestle, and certainly the first half, while he was, he was going up against guys his own rank, he was very impressive. Stumbled a little bit towards the end, but he did pull out the Kachikoshi and showed a lot of spirit.
Yeah, to kind of go off what you said last time, like a lot of what I saw of him is he's definitely crafty.
Yeah.
He looks like he spent his time being injured, just kind of working on his upper body strength and just kind of figuring out how to mentally kind of beat people. And that worked really well in the beginning, but it felt like in the second half, like people
figured it out.
People started getting figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing I noticed is he's tricky, I guess you'd say, if you like him, or dirty if you don't like him. But there were a couple times where he got a really clear head start off the Tachi-Ai, especially against Dayamami. I noticed that one. He
Is
got
that the one where he still had one fist like a foot above the doyo when they started?
So Dayamami was quite a bit slower, so Amanishiki already had a grip on him before they started. But yeah, that was a great match, though.
Would you say he's as bad as Kotoyuki?
Would you say he's as bad as Kotoyuki Yokozuna?
I apologize. Would you say he's as bad as Kotoyuki Yokozuna Jake?
No, Kotoyuki. I don't know. He's kind of, he doesn't have the excuse that he's old, I think. So I don't know. It's one of those completely hypocritical things. But I was loving Amanishiki's performance. But yeah, Kotoyuki. He's not one of my favorites.
I have a question though. So he ended the tournament with 8-7. Did he deserve the Fighting Spirit Prize?
That was something I was wondering as well. I think a lot of it came from like his first week performance, and I wasn't expecting this out of like a Japanese sport that seems to be just very much you perform well, you get the awards. This is how it works. There's no like in America, obviously Amanishiki gets it. He's the old guy. He's older than everybody else out there. He's coming back from an injury. He's finally made it to the top division. Of course that guy's going to get an award in America. That kind of surprised me from Japan because that kind of seems like, to me at least, there's a bunch of other people with 8-7 records, 9-6 records. Why would he get the Fighting Spirit prize? But I think it's because of all those situations.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the big storylines. There was NHK like highlights. They did like a preview episode, and they definitely spent like a good 10 minutes on him and told like his story.
Yeah, he was definitely a feel-good story.
Another thing I think I've heard about with these special prizes, apparently the press has some kind of vote in the whole.
Oh,
thing.
really?
So I think
that
part
could
of it
definitely
was
play a big part.
them telling what the good story was.
Yeah, and because it was a good story, it was like the veteran getting the Pro Bowl vote in his last year, even though he hasn't been performing great, he's still been doing well. You know, it kind of gives me the vibe of like a lifetime achievement award to some extent, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. And like I remember looking up some like records of people, and he's actually in like a lot of records for like having the most matches and most appearances. Like he has a very storied career. And so, like, you know,
he had a decent run at Sekiwake, I believe.
I believe so. He got up to Sekiwake. He has apparently some really good matches against Hakuho as well. And apparently that's the one thing he wants to do before he's retired.
I saw that, yeah. He wants to face Hakuho one more time.
Face Hakuho one more time.
Yeah, I would love to see
another
that.
basho or two like that, and he'll get up there into that top 3-ish. That would be awesome to see.
Well, with Yokozuna dropping like flies, they're going to have less late day opponents, so they're going to have to keep going deeper and deeper into the Maegashira ranks for their opponents.
For sure.
Moving on,
I do want to mention, like, did you guys see the interview with the man tears? Like when he was so moved by that?
I definitely kind of changed my opinion. I wasn't a huge fan of his at the beginning because, like we talked about, it's either crafty if you like him, dirty if you didn't like him. And I didn't like his brand of sumo, but then he was bawling at the end after getting his Fighting Spirit prize and like kind of the culmination of his mini journey for the past year. So like, how can you not love that guy?
Yeah, it was a pretty good story.
Yeah. Okinoumi, anybody got thoughts on his performance?
I think he is one of those guys that is top half of the Megashira, if not higher than that. Maybe like a top 3 Megashira-ish talent. I know he's been in that spot in the past, but he's not been too consistent.
I think he had an injury that he was coming back from. I don't have any sources on that, but I believe that's what was going on with him.
Yeah, where was he at? Kind of in the bottom half of.
He was
Maegashira
Maegashira 12.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and with 11-4, he'll probably go up to like, what do you think, 4 or 5, somewhere in there?
Yeah, I'd say 5.
Give or take.
6, my official prediction. But we'll get more to predicting the Bansuke later.
Yeah.
Moving on to... sorry.
But the point stands, like you said, like he's definitely a talent where he is at.
Yeah.
So
And
he's going to move up deservedly.
Yeah, definitely. His sumo wasn't like a Maegashira 12 sumo. He was performing very well. His sumo looked very good. It wasn't like he was just beating up on the lower ranked people.
Yeah, he had a number of matches where he and Amanishiki both. I saw a number of matches where it was just like, well, they're better. They have the technique.
Yeah.
They just, I'm done with this guy. They didn't need to exert themselves, to their 100%. They're just good enough that they knew how to do it.
All right, and then moving on to the last award, special prize given out, the Shuken Show, the outstanding performance given for the second straight basho to Taka Keisho. And this kind of disproves something we kind of debated before about what gets you the Outstanding Performance Prize. We were thinking for a little while, it's the guy who beats the eventual winner. That is not the case.
At least part of it.
Part of it.
I think a lot of these, though, they're not nearly as hard and fast of rules as we were assuming.
Taka Keisho got 2 Kinboshi, meaning he beat 2 Yokozuna. He beat at least one of the Ozeki. And so it sounds like with that kind of performance, you said he beat 2 Ozeki? All right, yeah. Beat 2 Yokozuna, 2 Ozeki. With that kind of performance, you can't deny him the Outstanding Performance Award for that. Anybody got more in-depth thoughts on Taka Keisho?
I was just gonna say I think it was Yoshikaze who beat not
Hakuho.
What's that?
Hakuho.
He ended up with the set Makikoshe, right?
6-9.
6-9. So I think that
That probably disqualifies him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I would assume. That's why Amanishiki, his Fighting Spirit prize was
that's right.
determined whether or not he won his last match because he was going into day 15.
So he would get the prize if he won.
Yeah.
Maybe because it also wasn't that great of a match, in my opinion. We'll probably get more into that as well. But
we will.
But go on with Taka Keisho is I'm absolutely loving that guy right now. He's doing fantastic.
I like the intensity he brings to each match.
Oh, yeah.
Like he is full out, nothing but fire. I'm going to give it everything I got, and it's really entertaining to watch him.
It's really inspiring to see a spherical person succeeding. You
Yes.
know? Not many sports where somebody who is as wide and as deep as they are tall can really get to the top of the game.
And can take a punch.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
That match against Shohozan definitely messed him up for a couple of days, but he fought through that very well.
I'm glad he got an interview after that one, or maybe,
I felt so
poor
bad for
guy.
him.
maybe it was the day after. But yeah, his lip was just—it looked like he had
his
a second
upper
nose
lip.
on him or something.
Yeah, it was not a sight for. It was an ugly sight. That's what it was. So somebody who paid attention to Jurio this Basho, want to tell me what happened there?
Yeah.
Well, it was we saw Abi jump out to an early lead. He seemed to be one of the guys in the running there. He ended up with Jun Yusho. He finished behind Sokokurai, a guy that we've seen in Makuuchi for a while here. Sokokurai actually finished with only one loss.
Yep.
So, but he was
He's coming for Hakuho. They had matching records.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. But no, he was kind of in the middle of the division. So I guess we're not positive, just from our experience, if that's going to be enough to lift him all the way back into Makuuchi, but it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's looking pretty good for Abi to jump up. into
Yeah,
Makuuchi.
he'd be jumping up. He was a Jurio 5, so he'd have to jump up quite a bit.
I think there's enough people with some.
We'll get to it later.
Yeah, we can.
We have
Yeah,
a special
yeah.
section reserved for this kind of conversation.
Yeah, but
So shut up, Flaret.
fine.
Save it.
Save it for later in the podcast.
But yeah, it's Abi is a guy who's won some Jurio U-shows before, but he was
Yep.
kind of in the middle, so he didn't get jumped up. And it sounds like he's getting a nice consistent pace.
Yeah,
I'm hoping
definitely.
that he'll jump up. I would like to see how he does in the Makuuchi.
I'm with
division.
you as well. Once he's up there, he's going to be one of my favorites, I think. I caught a couple of his matches, and I really like his brand of sumo. So moving on. We alluded to it a little bit earlier, but the Hakuho match versus Yoshikaze, that was an interesting one. Mac, you want to tell everybody what happened there?
Yeah, so both of them got set. Yoshikaze was already down, and then Hakuho put both of his hands down, both of them charged. It was a good tachi-ai, and then Hakuho just stood up and made like he was going to tap Yoshikaze on the shoulder, but Yoshikaze just continued forward and pushed Hakuho out of the ring.
Yeah, it was kind of like that match last Basho with
Former
Harumafuji.
Yokozuna
Former
Harumafuji.
Oh, ouch.
Well, are they always Yokozuna? Is it like
don't
Mr.
know.
President? You're always Mr. President?
I don't know.
Is he always
I'm sure we're
Yokozuna
gonna find
Harumafuji?
out.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Maybe it depends on if you retire in shame or not.
so this is a first for us, actually. Yokozuna retiring.
Yeah, it is. We've seen a Yokozuna raised up while we've been watching, and now we've seen our first one go, and I imagine we're going to see at least one more go in the next calendar year. But that's for another episode.
Anyway, back to Yoshikaze and Hakuho.
Yeah, I was going to say, there was a kind of a quote on that where, essentially, like, watching that, it's kind of tough to see why Hakuho wanted to call him Mata.
Yeah.
And apparently, like, what they think is Yoshikaze said he tried a new tachi-ai timing because his usual rough, quick style usually doesn't work. He went with the go no sen timing, which is like initially delaying the initial charge. So it sounds like he just kind of stood up, and rather than kind of like charging right away, he just kind of was very lax. And Hakuho just thought that
It
was
worked
like,
really well. He
Yeah,
just
it did.
bull rushed
Definitely
Hakuho
worked.
right out of the ring. He
exactly what he was trying to do.
It almost looked like Hakuho didn't even fight him on that. That's how good that new technique was.
Yeah, exactly.
And it definitely caught
yeah.
Hakuho on his heels.
Indeed, yeah. He got confused. Like he was thoroughly tricked, I would say.
Yeah. But yeah, so it was very much like the Harumafuji versus Kota Shogiku match with a very distinct difference, as Harumafuji didn't make a huge stink about it during his match.
Obviously disappointed, but yeah.
Yeah, Hakuho did his Hakuho thing and did make a very big stink about
He
the whole
refused to
thing.
get back in the ring. He
Yeah.
just stood there with his arm up, looking at the side refs going, hello? Hello?
Yeah.
And then everybody in the crowd's just like, you both had your hands down, you both charged. What the hell's your problem?
Like I've watched the replay multiple times. Like both hands are down. It
Yeah.
was a clean hit. It was a clean start.
Watching the Gyoji's face, though, while Hakuho was standing on
Oh,
the
you got to
side
be
of the ring.
sweating bullets.
Oh, my God.
He was like,
He was just facing forward, like, come on, come on.
I
come
have
on.
heard-
Just step back in, man. Just step back in.
I have heard there's only like one or two Gyoji that are, at the high level to referee Yokozuna matches. So, I mean, he's like one of the top couple most experienced guys at his job in the entire world. but he's still standing there. You could just see the terror like in his eyes, just like, oh God, this is weird and I don't like it.
But then how bad was it when he took a couple steps up, was about to re-enter the ring,
And bow.
and then just gestured back out and looked back at the line judges like, come on, seriously?
How bad was it, Yokozuna?
How bad was it, Yokozuna Jake? You're at number 4 right there, Yokozuna
No, I'm
Jake.
going to keep going, but I like this.
All right,
Yeah.
Mac
Done.
has reached his minimum, but
Fine.
you still have to call him Yokozuna Jake for the rest
The
of the episode.
episode's not
I
over.
hate you.
Yeah. So Hakuho had a quote like afterward where he said, "I did what I did because I don't think the fans wanted to see that kind of sumo. I just wanted to ship on the seed to a replay, and after I saw it myself, I accepted it. And it's my mistake, and it's really inexcusable." So I think he really did feel like there was a mata, and like he was like this. He just wanted to show some good sumo as the last match of the day was kind of his reasoning for that.
Yeah, I think he strikes me a lot of the times as somebody who gets really into the heat of the moment. Like afterwards, his statements, his interviews, and whatever, they seem collected. They seem calm and thoughtful. But in the moment, he's a guy who like he'll push.
Seems
guys
like a
out of the
hothead.
ring. Yeah, exactly. And I think this is probably one of those moments where, his emotions got the better of him, but then later on he thought through it and decided that was what he needed to say. Would you guys agree?
No, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I would agree with that, and I would say just by the number of dameoshi he performed during this entire
yeah.
basho, it was just, you
Yeah.
could tell Hakuho was riled.
He was on the warpath.
Definitely.
Yeah. Speaking of dameoshis, it seems like what everyone kind of says, like the Western philosophy of everyone should kind of play to the whistle. Like, unless the Gyoji tells you to stop, you should keep on playing the whole entire time through. I personally kind of feel like this is a little bit, it kind of conflicts with no dameoshis, like no extra shoves at all. Because sometimes those extra shoves, if you want to keep winning, there's no whistle you want. If he's not out yet, maybe you should get that shove to make sure he's out.
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering what other people kind of felt like with that.
I think that can be the case sometimes that, you have to be certain to get the win, but there are some very clear times where it's uncalled for, where it's clearly...
Aoyama versus Chiyo no
yeah,
Kuni,
that
I
was
believe,
bad.
in the last basho was the worst example of it. I personally just believe that this is Hakuho being the number one guy with attitude in sumo wrestling, and it's just a part of that attitude.
Not just being a hothead, but knowing that he is the greatest of all time and can get away with that kind of thing.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah, it's evident by his swagger, even just when he starts kneeling down, just that shoulder shimmy he kind of gives as he's staring down his opponent, like, nope, not going to happen today.
Yeah.
I guess I err on the side. Like, I think some like extra shoves at the edge are okay as long as they're not always huge, and more so just kind of making sure. Because there was a match on day 15, the Aoyama versus Sho Hozan. I don't know if you guys saw that, but there is Aoyama almost lost that match because he didn't put an extra shove, but the other guy recovered, and like he almost essentially like he had him off balance, and he could have won the match right there, but he recovered and almost lost the match, but he ended up winning. And so I feel like there are, I guess the thing I'm trying to say is like I think there should be some just kind of leniency towards that.
Maybe Hakuho got burned before on something similar like that, and so he's just always making sure.
So he decided to just be a dick forever.
Yeah.
Who else spit in his beer?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's possible.
Moving on to something else that riled me up in particular, seeing as it was against my boy Hokuto Fuji, Chiyo Shoma just being a huge dirtbag on day 9.
That was pretty bad.
There were 3 matas called by the Gyoji, and the first one, I mean, it looked maybe somebody moved a little bit early, but they both initiated the Tachi-ai, and the Gyoji like, nope, started over again.
That was kinda
and
weird.
so Chiyo Shoma just shoved Hokuto Fuji in the face for literally no reason that I could tell. Hokuto Fuji, being the badass man that he is, had no reaction, and then finally on their 4th attempt, just dominated Chiyo Shoma, threw him out of the ring, and showed who was the better man. But Aoyama, you are off the hook, my friend. You are okay in my book.
What is this now?
Chiyo Shoma is enemy number 1, and Arawashi enemy number 2, because you can never be too sure if he's Chiyo Shoma or not.
That is fair. That is fair.
Oh man, that match when they were against each other, I think Kentama Yama put up a.
It was just
put up a
Chiyo
comment.
Shoma going up against a mirror, and you all know it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, I just thought it'd be worth bringing up. It may be worth going back and taking a rewatch, but I saw in day, I believe it was like maybe 3 days later, day 9-ish or so. But Chiyo Shoma had like he was going out of his way to be nice about things. It was, I believe, it was against Nishikigi. Not sure off the top of my head, but yeah, he there was another Mata, but he was really gracious. He was like apologetic and everything. He made sure not to run into the other guy. And then at the end of the match, he did a really over exaggerated hold to make sure that he didn't fall off. Chiyoshoma won the match and held his opponent from falling off of the doyo.
Maybe he got
not that it makes up for it. Certainly now
he
that
got
Ryan,
yelled at. After
Yeah,
that
he probably
match.
got a little bit of an
Yeah.
earful. I can't imagine that.
Not that he's
the
earned
sumo
Ryan's
associate-
respect back.
no.
yet,
Oh
of
no,
course.
dear Lord, no.
Yeah. Chiyoshoma kind of strikes me as a guy who gets really into the matches as well. Like, I've been watching a lot of his matches after that, and I can tell this, he has a fighting spirit to his matches. So I think he just kind of get really riled up, and he listens to some kind of like pump up music in the backstage, and then he just kind of goes for it.
And sometimes just punches guys in the face for doing a mata.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we can all agree Chiyoshoma's a dirtbag. So moving on to injuries in this basho. So injuries were the main storyline of the Aki basho, but injuries actually kind of became just as big, if not bigger, in this Kyushu basho. But they kind of happened more slowly and not all at the beginning, so it didn't feel like as big of a storyline. But what we ended up with, same as Aki, one Yokozuna that finished the basho, one Ozeki that finished the basho, albeit Takayasu competed for, I believe, 12 days before he had to pull out. And I think there were more Kyujo than the Aki basho.
Yeah, there were 9 this time. There were 8 last time.
Yeah. So notables among that, Ura, Kakuryu, Takanoiwa, Haramafuji after day 2, Kisano around day 8 or 9. So yeah, just another injury-filled basho.
Yeah, Aoyama, he was in for 2 days, then he was out for a handful, and he came back. And then the other one was Miyugiryu. He fell out on day 13 was his last
and
match.
he must have been really injured because he was right on the edge of getting his Kachikoshi. So
And still thought it
Yep.
was worth dropping out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that must have been bad.
yeah, exactly. Don't want to spend too much time on that. I don't really think there's anything more to say. Just kind of hope everybody gets better.
Yeah, I think the one thing to say is that people are still injured for the most part from Aki.
And having that Jungyo in between these two basho did not help anybody.
There's going to be another one.
Is there another one
in
between
winter,
now
yeah.
and Hatsu?
The part that bothers me is that there were 2 of them were completely new. I mean, obviously Takanoiwa was a new situation.
Yeah.
Miyugiryu, I mean, maybe it was aggravating something that was only a minor injury before, but I mean, that's two new debilitating injuries, and hopefully Aoyama is actually recovered and wasn't just pretending to come back.
And in all fairness, Hirabafuji's probably wasn't due to injury.
Yeah,
Actually, they said Kisano Sato's injury wasn't his shoulder; it was his leg.
Yeah, I heard
Really?
that too. He's got
Oh,
like
that's
some
bad.
new thing, and I'm
some
sure his
ankle
shoulder
thing, yeah.
Wait, his
shoulder
shoulder
isn't
can't be
fully
healed.
healed
Yeah, no
either
way.
without getting a surgery. But yeah, so let's move on from that. We had a couple other guys that we haven't mentioned yet that had pretty good runs. Starting off with Ichinojo. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the guy, really. He's big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He seems quiet, like a quiet giant kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. He's a quiet giant. There's not a whole lot of fire with him, which I think is kind of the reason why I'm not a huge fan. It's just, it seems like he could be a whole lot better than he is. It's just, he's so slow, and every once in a while just doesn't seem like he gets overpowered too easily for me. But he definitely had a very good run, finishing at 10-5 in this basho.
the thing that I've noticed about
With
him is
Kinboshi, sorry.
yeah, but the thing that I've noticed about him is he gets too high. He needs to. It's probably just a symptom of being gigantic, but like he can't get low and stabilize his weight nearly as well. So a lot of the times he'll just get stood up and pushed back by guys who have no business moving a guy that's 500 pounds or however gigantic he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just like this big teddy bear that if he has to move quickly or if he has to use his knees a lot, that it just crushes him. He can't do anything.
Yeah.
But when he wins, he looks like an unbeatable giant.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a couple other guys of note kind of had turnaround bashos for them. Shodai finally got a winning basho. He's kind of seemed off his game ever since he was Sekewake for one tournament. He got a 9-6 record at Maegashira 7. Hopefully that signals a turnaround for him.
He did have one forfeit victory from Kisano Sato, though.
Still, even there, that would put him at 8-7. But yeah, he definitely finished strong with 6 straight wins. Somebody else that was injured in the last basho seems to have healed a little bit and has turned it around. Tochinoshin Maegashira 6 also finishing with a 9-6 record.
I just love watching Tochinoshin. He's becoming one of my favorite wrestlers. Like, just his Mawashi style is just so powerful, so crisp.
Oh yeah, once he gets a good grip on your Mawashi, it's just
Game
done.
over.
Yeah.
As long as he can use his legs. I know that's been his problem recently here.
He also has to stay healthy because he's been battling a bad knee.
Yeah.
Yokozuna Jake, excuse me. He's also been battling a bad knee.
Thank you.
And another guy that we are big fans of that had a huge turnaround from the first half of the Basho to the second half of the Basho was our boy Komusubi Onosho. And I believe somebody has a theory as to why he finally turned things around, it looks like, on day 8.
Yeah, I'll let you know. He, you know how in like sports, like you have like a football coach who does some strategic halftime adjustments to be able to adjust to what the opponent's doing and actually get out the victory. That's something that is a mark of a good coach right there.
Definitely.
I think Onosho showed a mark of a good rikishi right here. Halfway through the Basho, in the beginning of it, he changed his Mawashi into a kind of black and blue kind of Mawashi. And he won his first match, but then he lost the next six matches from that. He then, on day 8, switched his Mawashi to a red one, and he ended up going 7-1 wins.
And the red Mawashi is what he had been using in the previous Basho. So yeah,
We should look up his total Makuuchi record.
with a red.
Solely
With the
based
red.
off of his Mawashi
Because he went
color.
10-5 3 times.
Yeah, and then it
And
looks like
then-
7 wins
And then
with the red
7-1
Mawashi.
with the red.
He
Yeah.
draws his power from the Mawashi.
Yeah.
It's clearly the actual cause here.
Oh yeah, definitely. It wasn't because he was going up against lower ranked competition. He
Oh,
had
no,
already
no,
faced all the Yokozuna, Ozeki, and Sekawake and all that stuff. It was just because of the red Mawashi. If he had that on, he would have been the Yusho winner, clearly.
Yeah, for sure.
Purely.
From the beginning. I will say that was probably one of my favorite storylines, is because he pretty much had to win the last 5 days or so. He had to win every single match in order to keep his.
He had to win the
record.
last 4 in a row.
4 in a row
Yep.
in order to get that. Yeah, and like on the last day, it was just so tense. And I was when he won that match, I was just so happy.
That was the last day against Hokuto Fuji. I was so torn on that match because I mean, Onosho is in the top 3 with Takakeisho and Hokuto Fuji with me. And so I wanted to see Hokuto Fuji get to 12-3, push that record a little bit higher, cement himself as the lone Jun Yusho. But Onosho, I also wanted to see Onosho get the Kachikoshi, get that great storyline of the comeback, and maintain his Komusubi rank. So a little bit torn on that one. Happy, but in the end, I'm happy Onosho is going to maintain that Komusubi rank. Somebody else that we enjoyed quite a bit in the Akiba show was Asanoyama. I don't quite think we're going to have to say goodbye to him for Hatsu, but we might have to because he finished at
5-10.
Maegashira 11 with a 5-10 record. Very disappointing for somebody that had been getting a lot of high praises from some of the Yokozuna.
Yeah, all the Yokozuna wanted to face against him.
Yeah.
Well, not yet.
Nope.
Yeah, no
Not
kidding.
anymore, yeah.
Or ever for one of them.
Stop
Why?
making us
Why,
sad.
Yokozuna Jake? Why?
I just wanted Mac to address me by my title.
And one more guy that I kind of want to throw a shout out to. He didn't really have a good basho in the record department, finishing 3-12 at Maegashira 3. The Shohozaniac, Shohozan, didn't have a good basho, but as I was watching every day, I kept a mark of, and I know Jake did the same thing, kept a tally of like our favorite 1 or 2 matches every day, and Shohozan just kept showing up in our favorite matches. So he's definitely a guy that has a lot of fighting spirit. Just need to kind of work on that fighting power, I guess.
Yeah, he was. This was his hometown. So
him
that
and
was,
Kota Shogiku, I believe.
So he was fighting. He was fighting tooth and nail every match, just slapping the hell out of everybody.
Slapped the piss out of Takakeisho and gave him that bloody upper lip.
And I'm sure that there were plenty of other slightly less visible injuries that he dealt out. But no, I thought that like almost every single one of his matches was just must see sumo. It was awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And I think with that, we're going to wrap up kind of our discussion of the main results of the, I wanted to say Akiba show, but it's the Kyushu Basho. And when we come back, we're going to kind of break down what we think everybody is going to end up on the Hatsu Bansuke.
Sumo lovers know that anything can happen at the basho, especially when you're sitting near the doyo. Don't let the fear of falling rickshi rain on your parade. Invest in a Steel Stella umbrella. Their fortified steel frame offers unmatched rickshi protection, while the sleek satin webbing keeps you cool, dry, and fashionable. Just deploy your Steel Stella umbrella at the beginning of the match for optimum rickshi fall prevention. Be the belle of the basho with Steel Stella umbrellas. Pick yours up today.
Yeah, whatever. No.
All right. But seriously, welcome back. At this time, we're going to kind of take a look at the results of Kyushu and use those to predict where everybody's going to line up for the Hatsu Basho in January. I can't say no real changes at the Yokozuna rank because Haruma Fuji's going to be gone.
Why are you doing this?
Because it's a fact and it makes me sad and it just needs to be repeated a lot because, I mean, that's the big news of the day.
It is going to change how a lot of this works, yeah.
Yeah. So going back to how it was when we first started with 3 Yokozuna, we're going to have 2 Ozeki as Teruno Fuji. Somebody we did not bring up at all in our results, but he was a guy that started 0-4, pulled out, and so he was a Sekewake. He's not gonna be in Sanyaku.
He did not get his 10 wins.
He did not get his 10 wins to move back to Ozeki. So it's going to be Goedo and Takayasu who managed to pull out 8 wins before he himself pulled out with an injury with 3 days remaining.
Which is good because he was Kadoban for this Basho.
Yeah.
He would have lost his Ozeki ranking if he didn't get 8 wins.
Yep. And somebody that was just brought up to Ozeki, that definitely would not have looked good for him. So Sekiwake rank, we're going to have Mitake Yumi, who stays place. He had a 9-6 record. We're going to say goodbye to Yoshikaze, who had a 6-9 record, faltered down the stretch with 4 straight losses.
Breaking the streak of Mitake Yumi and Yoshikaze getting the same record.
That they did. And they have like a mirrored record right there. Where it's 9-6
and 6-9. Mm-hmm. And as mentioned before, Teruno Fuji, who was a Sekewake for this Basho, will be dropping out of Senyaku ranks.
Pretty far, I bet.
Someone else that'll be dropping out of Senyaku ranks once again is Kodo Shogiku. Komosubi only had a 6-9 record. But our boy, Onosho, managed to eke out that 8-7 record. He will stay in the Senyaku ranks. And so just kind of filling out the zone of death. Tamawashi, Takakeisho are going to get promoted, and everybody else except for Hokuto Fuji will be demoted.
When you mentioned Kodo Shogiku, I was just wondering how long do you think he's going to go before he retires?
I think we discussed that last time when he was bumped out of Ozeki, didn't we?
I think at this point,
but then he came back up. Yeah.
I think he's going to stick around for as long as he can. If he had already dropped out of the Sanyaku ranks and still competed, I think at that point he's just going to keep going as long as he can. I don't know how long that is, but I think he's just going to keep going until his body doesn't allow him to anymore.
Kind of Omnishiki kind of a thing. Jump down to Juryo, maybe come back for a couple.
Hopefully
of times.
not that far, but yeah.
Face Yokozuna Hakuho again. Maybe
one more time. Yeah.
Manly tier interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the big thing that we don't really know, and I want to get your guys' opinions on. There's the second Sekiwake and the 2 Komusubi ranks that are clearly going to be filled by Onosho, Tamawashi, and Takakeisho. But what order do you think that's going to be?
That's what I was going to bring up because...
Well, I got it first.
Screw you. So why this is even a question is Onosho finished with an 8-7 record. That's a winning record, so he's not going to be demoted. He needs to be promoted. But Tamawashi and Takakeisho are the guys ranked right behind Onosho. They both had an 11-4 record. And so there's a very real possibility that one of them jumps up to take the Sekewake rank that is vacated by Yoshikaze instead of Onosho.
I think it'll be Takakeisho just because his Kimboshi will ebb out Tamawashi and Onosho.
Well, I personally think it's going to be Tamawashi. He also had a Kenboshi, had a very impressive record, and he is ranked ahead of Takakeisho at this point. So I think we're going to see Tamawashi back at the Sekewake rank.
Yeah, it all depends. It all depends on the priorities of the ranking council, and that's not something we're super familiar with yet. But this will be a good learning experience for us. Just depends on how much you value that special prize that Takakeisho got, and how much it actually counts if you're starting at Komusubi.
Yeah. So kind of how I see Sanyaku ranks and the Zone of Death filling out. We're going to have Yoshikaze drop out of Sekiwake. I think Tamawashi is going to jump up, take his place as the West Sekiwake. Onosho is going to move over to be the East Komusubi. I think Takakeisho jumps up and becomes the West Komusubi. And then after that, I think Hokuto Fuji is going to jump up to be one of the Maegashira ones.
Oh,
and
for sure.
I think that's where Yoshikaze is going to land as well. He's going to be in the 1 or 2 range, but I think he'll end up in the 1 range. 6-9 record, not terrible, so shouldn't be a huge drop for him.
There's also the issue of Terano Fuji. I mean, obviously 0-15 is awful.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know what the conventions are. Is he going to be treated as if he was at any other rank and going 0-15 and dropping like a plummet, or is it, is he given a little bit of benefit for his rank?
Yeah, I'm not sure either, but I see him dropping out of the zone of death.
I think Shogiku kind of had a slow drop when he dropped out of Oseki, didn't he? I don't think he got 0-15.
No, he never had a record that bad that would merit a drop where you're skipping like the Komosubi rank. I think 0-15, I mean, technically like 0-5 with 10 non-competes, but that works pretty much the same.
Yeah,
as
it's all counted the same.
Yeah, where Kota Shogaku was all kind of like middling records.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see him staying in the zone death or top 16 joy for the most part.
Yeah, we don't know.
That's
We
if
don't
he
know,
comes
but
back. He could still be
my-
injured by the time the next Basho comes around.
That's true.
It's true, yeah. He'll probably still appear on the Banzuke. We'll see if he actually competes.
Yeah.
But my guess is he'll probably stay within top 16.
Yeah. And then just kind of rounding out the zone of death at Maegashira 2, I think we're going to see Ichinojo jump up for Maegashira 4. That's where I kind of have Kota Shogiku landing after dropping Komosubi. And then rounding out the zone of death, Arawashi and Tochinoshin at Maegashira 3.
There we go.
That's the best we can come up with. Will it be different? Probably. But there's going to be some other big drops and big promotions. Definitely Okinoumi is going to jump up quite a bit. Probably 7, 8, 6-ish range.
Maybe he'll get 5-ish and actually get like and maybe he will be, if enough people are injured, actually in fighting Yokozuna.
Yeah, true.
Could be possible.
That'd be quite the jump in one go, but he did get that Jun show.
Yeah. Somebody that's going to have a couple of people that are going to have a precipitous drop. Tochi Ozan and Sho Hozan, both in the zone of death. Tochi Ozan finishing with a 4-11 record and Sho Hozan finishing with 3-12 record. Those guys are definitely going to drop down to 7, 8, 9 range, I would guess. What about people we see jumping up from Juryo and people we see dropping down into Juryo?
Well, I think there are a couple easy answers for dropping down. You got Miyugiryu, Ura.
Ura, now I'm sad again.
Yeah, sad again. Yep, I mean...
This episode's just full of sadness for all of us.
But he's getting surgery, so he'll probably
there's
be back
hope for Ura.
eventually.
There's hope.
There is. He's a smart one getting surgery, taking his sweet time.
Yeah, I think Asanoyama is likely to go all the way back down too. Same
think
with
so?
Aoyama. I think those guys are both in...
I think Aoyama
Aoyama for
definitely.
sure.
He finished with
Which is
overall
sad.
3
'cause
and 12.
I do like watching his brand of sumo. I like the pusher thruster that he is.
I too like future Yokozuna Oyoyama.
I wouldn't go that far.
Oh, well, and I think that there are a couple guys that we can put some good money on to be moving up into Makauchi. We'll have the return of Ishiura, I believe.
Happiness.
There
There's
we
a
go.
feeling I've not seen
how'd
this
he do?
episode.
He got an 8-7 at Juryo 1 West.
Yeah,
So he can only go up into Makuuchi.
Well,
Yeah,
he
fair
can. He
point.
could technically go over to 1 East. That
Don't-
would be technically.
he
But
can
I'm willing
only
to
go
bet.
into Makuuchi.
Yeah.
He
But
can
there's a-
only go to Makuuchi.
There's enough people with really bad losing records.
Yeah,
who'll
there
drop
are.
down.
Yeah.
There is
Who'll jump
a lot of
The bottom
defeat.
4 guys in Makuuchi all have to move down, so
Yeah, I think
including Daimami, who we did not mention before.
Yeah, Daimami, a newcomer, looks like he'll have to take another whack at Makauchi in a couple months. But yeah, he's probably moving down. And in exchange, we might get Yutaka Yama back. He was in Makauchi last time, but yeah, did not fare so well.
And hopefully Abi.
That would be fun to see.
Yeah.
I will say probably there's a good chance with Abi. There are only I believe 4 people in Juryo who had winning records above him, and he has a better record of those 2.
Okay.
So I'm hopeful.
You think
about
enough
that.
people with bad records at the bottom of Makuuchi and enough people with poor records at the top of Juryo allow?
I think he has potential making the cutoff. He probably won't be really high up, but I think he has potential making the cutoff.
He might get that Nishikigi slot, as I call it, the odd number. Oh, I'm sorry, my mic was out. I think he might get that Nishikigi slot, the one that I refer to, the Makuuchi 16 East, like the odd man out hanging off the bottom of the Banzuke.
It's very possible if Nishikigi doesn't get that himself.
He might. He got 7 and 8.
So that was going to be my question. I was like, well, hang on here.
Oh well, but no, that I think there will be more movement than normal for this one.
Yeah.
But I will say probably not Sokokurai. I think he's a bit too far.
Yeah.
Too much of a jump.
Too much of a jump, yeah.
Yeah, because where was Abi when he won the Yusho last Basho? He was down at like 10-11 range, was he?
Yeah, we're bringing that up, but yeah, he still only made it up to 5 after.
I mean, he only had a 10-5 record, I think. So Kokurai had a 14-1 record. So
that's true.
He very well could make it back up into Makuuchi with such an impressive record. He was 3 clear of anybody else in Juryo.
Yeah. Okay. It looks like Abi went from 10 to 5.
Yeah, with a 10-5
record.
So yeah, I think we could very easily see Sokokurai up in the Makuuchi division again.
It's possible, yeah.
Time will tell.
They'll be fighting Nishikigi for the Nishikigi slot.
Indeed.
All right, and we're going to move on. Already hit on it at the top of the podcast, but we're just going to kind of go more in depth into our prediction series. As we mentioned, there's no drama to be had here. Jake was your winner, as he is. What is he? Mac? What's his name?
I will murder you.
But
Yokozuna Jake.
yeah, okay, yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
right. He is that. I'm not going to call him that because I don't need to.
It'd be pretty cool though.
Yeah. So Jake correctly predicted Hakuho as the Yusho winner. He also had Hokuto Fuji getting a special prize and Hokuto Fuji getting a Kimboshi, along with Kaisei getting a Kachikoshi record. The runner-up was Fleric, who had Hakuho also winning, and then Takakeisho getting a special prize at Kinboshi. Me not doing so hot, your defending champion, I must remind you, only getting a couple of points. I had Takakeisho getting a Kinboshi and Tochiozan having a losing record.
You must remind us because we had all moved on with our lives.
I will literally remind you every single review episode, even if it's like 2 years down the line, I haven't won
did win
any
the
other
first
ones.
one.
I won the very first one.
I remember when I won back then.
Yeah. And then Mac, little lonely Mac, sitting with 1 point with the 1 point he got on the first day of the Basho.
That's right. I struck first.
When Tamawashi beat Kisuna Sato,
I struck first, baby.
he got nothing else. And so because of that,
He peaked
Brick
early.
by brick, man. I'm going to build this up brick by brick.
He literally could only do better than last time, and
That's
he
true.
did.
He did.
Succeeded.
by
So-
the minimum.
So
Shut up.
I would like to introduce this next segment because this is what I've been waiting for 2 weeks. Yeah, so the other punishment that Mac had to do was he had to rewrite the lyrics and sing them to a song of my choice, and that will be performed for you now live. If everyone would please enjoy Yusho Race.
Yeah, this is sure to be a train wreck. Go ahead.
Mata, mata. Mata, mata. Mata, mata. Mata, mata. Mata, mata. I wanna hold him till the Gyoji takes his place. Stare him, bear him, flare him, hit the Tachi-ai with grace. On Basho matches, badass Rikshi from the start. But fall behind your betters as your Yusho falls apart. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh, don't have the heart. Bad move from the start. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh, don't have the heart. Bad move from the start. Can't get by, can't reach mine. No, I fall in the Yusho race. He's not a badass Rikshi. Can't get by, can't reach mine. No, I fall in the Yusho race. He's not a badass Rikshi. You show race. You show race. Mata, mata. You show race. You show race. Mata, mata.
So if for some reason you're still listening to the podcast, it is now the time where we do Jake's Fun Facts.
Jake's Fun Facts.
All right. Well, I don't know if we're going to have any facts that are as fun as what you all just heard.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yokozuna Jake, you are welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Jonokuchi Mac. I don't know, whatever. So I thought I would start this one off with in celebration of Hakuho getting his 40th Yusho with some hilarious Hakuho stats, because they are quite hilarious. He has now the record for most Yusho, obviously, at 40. Second place has 32. We mentioned that. That's Taiho. So he's got 25% more Yushos than second place.
Jeez.
Just silly. He has 13 Zensho Yushos. That's undefeated. 15 and O's. Second place has 8. So he's got 60% more Zensho Yushos than second place. He's got the most wins in his career at 1064. So yeah, like Ryan said, he could hit 1100. He could go, he could go forever there.
He's still clearly the most dominant guy.
Oh,
and
yeah.
with one Yokozuna dropping out, who knows
It's
how long
only going to get it's going to get even better for him. He missed 25 matches in 2016. He still has the most wins out of any Rikishi this year. How hilarious is that? Yeah, so it's not quite his 2009 or 2010. In those 2 years, he wrestled every match, so 90 matches a year, and he won 86-4 both times.
Jeez.
Yeah, those are his best 2 wins. But there was a streak from, let's see, it was the third tournament of 07 to the fifth tournament of 16. There were 3 total times that he was not the Yusho or Jun Yusho winner.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so that is almost 10 years. And one of those he was injured. So he pulled out. But yeah, so it's pretty ridiculous. How many times do you think he got Makikoshi in his entire career?
Like starting from
the bare bottom. Absolute bottom of the
there has
division.
to be at least one. I'm going to go with 3.
2.
Damn.
In Jonokuchi, the very first division, his very first tournament, in 2001, he had a Makikochi. Then again in Sandanme division a year later. Let's see. The last time he got fewer than 10 wins was 2006.
Jeez.
I'm assuming
In a tournament
where
he completed
all 15 days. Okay.
Yes. So yeah, that's just some ridiculous stuff on him. Just it's worth noting just because I think the only comparable person is Wayne Gretzky as far as records where they're better than everyone else. Mm-hmm. Just absolutely absurd.
And still going.
Yeah,
And still-
he's just
and
going to make
still
it
the
look
best.
even more ridiculous in the coming years because I don't see anybody to challenge him seriously.
Yeah, like he was the best of all time like 3 or 4 years ago already, and he's still the best guy in there. And the second best guy is now gone. So
Yeah.
it's not going to end soon unless it's some sort of a catastrophic injury.
The rise of Kakaryu.
He doesn't.
Sorry, Kakaryu.
Like the
but,
mighty Phoenix.
He does not show leadership. All right, so moving on from Hakuho, we do have a couple other good ones. The 3 youngsters that we've been keeping an eye on, Yago in Juryo, he got a 7 and 8, so he'll actually be bumped down out of Juryo.
No.
But he's still one of the guys that everybody's got their eye on with some good potential. So
He'll come back.
Yay.
He'll come back.
Enho, he finally lost
No.
for the first 2 times. So he went 5 and 2. He'll still keep.
Yay.
Oh my God! Enough. No, he'll keep rising, but slightly slower than before. And then Waka Ichiro, the American, unfortunately went 1 and 6.
What?
So I don't know. He may not ever be a Yokozuna, but hopefully he can.
Now, wait a minute.
Hopefully he's still going to keep getting better.
If Hakuho had 2,
That's a good point.
Exactly.
he had to get at least one somewhere.
Yeah.
There we go. It's actually really funny to see his kind of hair because he has like an afro, and so it's just kind of like this helmet that's around his head.
And it's like half-assedly greased back a
Yeah.
little bit, so it's just kind of like a saggy afro almost. I don't know. You should look up pictures of him.
I'm
now
envisioning that pulled into a top knot now.
Oh God, it'll be awesome.
I want it. I want to see it.
We'll see what happens as his hair gets longer. But yeah, so a couple other ones. These two both popped up on Kintamiyama, his videos. He pointed these out. 2017, every single day, every single tournament, sellout. First time that happened in 21 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So
also,
hopefully,
coincidence, our podcast started in 2017.
that's a very good
Uh-huh.
point.
Yep. Causation and correlation, they equal each other and
what
have you.
Exactly. The other one that popped up on his feed, Mitake Yumi, is the only one to get 6 Kachikoshis this year. Even Hakuho, obviously he didn't do every tournament, so.
Yeah, I immediately started racking my brain trying to think. Like, my immediate thought was like, no, of course that can't be right. Let me think of somebody to prove you wrong. But
oh my God, it's true.
yeah,
But then last and but not least, my favorite fun fact for this time around, Amanishiki wrestled Kageyaki. They are 15 years and 8 months apart in age. Their age difference could professionally wrestle in sumo.
Wow. So you have to be 15 years old to wrestle.
And
wrestle
I believe there's a height
professionally?
restriction, but
Like
there's
5'8", 5'9",
something like that. But those are like the only qualifications. As long as you're recruited and you're in a stable, you can
can start down in Jonakuchi, I believe, is the lowest.
Jonakuchi's the bottom one.
I'm just imagining some 15-year-old getting in the ring with some 20-year-old at that point and just going, nope, you're just walk out now.
Yeah.
Just walk out.
But no, that was the biggest age difference I could find. Obviously, Amanishiki is the oldest, and Kageyaki was the youngest that he fought this tournament. I'm sure in the past there have been others that were a bigger difference, but this one was 5,721 days of age difference.
Wow. So if Amanishiki can get up and face like Onosho, because I know Onosho and like Takakeisho, they're only like 21 years old, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see how far he can go up. But those guys are
18.
Those guys are
Could die in the American Army. That age difference.
There you go. And we'll just keep coming up with depressing ways to phrase that, won't we? No, but if those guys keep rocketing up, I mean, they'll all have to raise their game if they're going to face each other.
Mm-hmm.
But Flair, you have a couple?
Yeah, speaking of Onosho and Takakeisho, they actually have a pretty cool rivalry going on between each other. It's they are both 21, and apparently they have been wrestling each other since junior high. There's actually a video out there of where they've been wrestling in the junior high finals of where they were going for the Yusho race right there.
Oh, wow.
And Takakeisho actually ended up taking that over Onosho. And I think that was 2011.
That's very cool. I mean, their career paths are obviously kind of very similar. I believe they're both going to be Komusubi in this next Basha, so it's going to be very interesting watching that.
Yeah, they're actually it's a cool rivalry because they're actually apparently really good friends as well. They had some quotes from him says apparently they're in different stables, but apparently they go visit each other often and just kind of to practice against each other.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron, or whatever the phrase is,
or some other phrase that would
there's
be
something
funny about them being
sharpens
fat
something
and not very physically sharp.
Is it iron sharpens iron?
That is the phrase. But
Okay.
I'm trying to come up with a funnier one because they're portly.
Yeah, muscle pump. Never mind. Anyways, but yeah, it's they had some cool quotes. They're in different stables. Takakeisho's at the Takanohana stable, and Onosho's at Ono Matsu stable. But they're in the same Ichiman. My guess is actually
What is an Ichiman?
That's a good question. Yes, that's a group of stables where they're kind of all. I don't necessarily know why they group together, but they're pretty much stables that are friendly with each other.
Okay.
There's like 6 or 7 or something Ichiman.
Possibly.
There's a small number of those, and they each have like double digits heias within them, I believe.
I would guess Takanohana stable and Haramufuji stable are not in the same Ichiban.
You would be correct. You would be.
And that's at least 5 times that I've made myself sad today.
Womp womp.
Oh, remember Ura?
Oh, no. 6.
Yeah. So they are both now 1-1 against each other, with Onosho 1 in Kyushu, and I think Takakeisho 1 in Aki. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. And they have some kind of cool quotes. They actually did a highlight on him on the preview episode of Grand Sumo Highlights. Takakeisho says, "When I see Onosho win, I want to win too. His presence inspires me, and mine him. I think our relationship is great."
Oh, get a room.
Yeah, and I think Onosho said, "We don't want to lag behind each other. He's my rival and best friend. We need each other. This is a rare relationship, and we want to lead sumo together in the future."
Aw.
Yeah, that is kind of awesome.
Yeah, so
They're friends.
it made me really really happy when Onosho won his 8 and 7 because they're both going to be in the Sanyaku.
Yep.
And seeing which one can just kind of outdo each other.
Yeah.
and do well. Because apparently Takakesho, when he started out in Makuuchi like in January, he had like 11 wins in January and I think spring as well.
Yeah, because he was down in the double digits of Maegashira, and I remember he had a really good breakout basho.
Yeah, like so he didn't do 3 bashos in a row where he did really well, but he did 2.
Yeah.
It just kind of got overshadowed.
Shadowed.
Thank you.
Yeah,
by the
we got
whole
there.
Kiseno Sato become Yokozuna.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So I think I'm going to be keeping a look on these 2 people.
I think we all will. Yeah.
The other kind of cool fun fact I saw was apparently I was looking into Yokozuna who got Makikoshis. Most of the time when Yokozuna are losing, they end up just kind of
Oh,
stepping
no.
out.
I'm totally hurt.
My knee and stuff.
Exactly. But there apparently been a few times of where like they've been really close, and then what they do, and they end up going 7 and 8. Apparently that only happened 3 times in history, where one of them, the first time it happened was by Chiyo Noyama. Apparently he got Makikochi's Yokozuna, and he actually asked for a demotion back to Ozeki, but he was denied.
Did he retire after that, or what?
I think he stuck around for a little bit longer and ended up retiring.
Maybe took some time to recover or something. Maybe.
Yeah, it was during the 1950s, I believe.
Okay.
So it was a different time. I guess, and the other thing we didn't really mention, I remember last episode we talked about if an Ozeki run, whether or not you have to be a Sekiwaki or you can be, promoted from the
Like Komusubi. Yeah.
Like if
Komusubi rank.
Onosho got a super good run
Exactly.
and got 33 total wins and 3 basho, which is normally what you aim for Ozeki.
Yeah.
Which he was on track for doing.
Yeah.
Wait, and didn't he? Didn't he get 33 wins?
No.
No, he got 30 in 3 basho in his first 3 basho.
Right, so he's coming into this one with
He would have needed
like
13.
13
Yeah.
Got it.
to total 33 and 3.
So I looked it up on the records, and apparently this has happened before, where it went from Komusubi to Ozeki, but that was in 1938.
Okay.
And they also
Yikes.
only had like 10 matches and like a basho as well.
I did hear that it isn't like set in stone though, right? It's a deliberation council, kind of like Yokozuna, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would imagine it hasn't happened since the 30s because that's a hard thing to do, to kind of come in your first couple bashos or just be somebody that's been in the Maegashira ranks and all of a sudden just turn it on to Ozeki level.
Right.
Exactly. I would say like there have been some people who, when they first got to Makuuchi, they got those 33 wins, but they did not end up getting promoted because they're not from Sekiwaki. 2 people in the recent past, Yoshikaze in 2015, he went from Maegashira 14, Maegashira 8, Maegashira 1 to Komusubi, not Ozeki. And also Goedo from 2010. He had a very similar path and ended up with Komusubi.
Eventually got it through the more traditional method then.
It sounds like what happens is once you enter the top 16, or the Joy, as which they have the name for that, that's when they kind of start counting that run.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
And most of the time, they end up as Sekiwaki if you have winning records.
Yeah.
Right. So somebody like Takakesho could technically be on his first of 3. Like if he got 11 and 11 again, even though right now he was only at Megashira 1. Okay.
Yeah, I think they would count his record for this. I wouldn't be surprised also if normally there's only 2 Sekiwaki spots, if they would open up a third one if someone's on the Ozeki one.
So technically, we have Tamawashi, Hokuto Fuji, and Takakesho that could be at the beginning of their Ozeki run.
Right, you are, right?
Well, Takakesho, this would actually be his second in his Ozeki run because
what
he
did he get
was
last
he was Megashira 5
Yeah.
in the last basho. So,
I think it's a little iffy, yeah.
but yeah,
I think he was technically facing Yokozuna because everyone's injured. But
Yeah.
it's just that kind of gets
I know he got a Kinboshi over Haramufuji in the last basho. So
yeah, that will probably be one of those things up to committee, and they'll kind of decide if it happens or not.
That would be pretty cool though if we got to see somebody get promoted that quickly.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he was actually 9 and 6 in Aki.
Oh, okay. So yeah, probably
Still not
bad.
bad, but-
No.
Oh no, not by any means, but still.
All right, so I think we're going to move on from fun facts and allow Mac to kind of try to redeem himself a little bit and give out his Kyushu Basho awards.
What do you mean try? I did redeem myself. You were all enthused by my rendition of Yusho Race there, right?
What
right?
what do you call these awards?
Well, these are the Grand Sumo Breakdown Awards.
The Grand Sumo Breakdown Awards.
I hate you. Yokozuna Jake.
Thank you.
I hate you, Yokozuna Jake. I will assume.
I had to get at least
Anyway.
one more audio. Anyways, go on.
Right. Our first award goes The Fat Man Flying. Happened on day 12. Chiyoshima versus
Couldn't have happened to a
Nishikigi.
nicer guy.
Yeah, I was about to say, Ryan, I know you don't like the guy. However, He performed a I'm going to say it wrong. Hasao Tobi, a surprise attack catching Nishikigi off guard.
Oh, never mind. This is for Chiyoshima. He doesn't deserve this award.
Yeah, this is for Chiyoshima.
Never mind.
Yeah.
No,
Moving on.
No, this wasn't
Next award.
This wasn't one where he went.
I
flying,
said
right?
next award.
I don't know. I want to hear some more. Continue.
He actually did go flying. He jumped clear into the air and avoided the Tachiai with Nishikigi. It is a rare move, but it is legal.
Just like a Henka or something like that. I
Exactly.
imagine. Yeah.
But how many of these guys do you see literally jumping off of the doyo to surprise their enemy?
certainly not any significant amount of distance from the ground. Yeah.
Exactly. And yet he got significant enough air to completely dumbfound Nishikigi.
Yeah, he kind of jumped off to the side, like almost over the shoulder, and I remember he got a good grip on the Mawashi before Nishikigi even knew what was going on.
So definitely Fat Man Flying. Next award, the Benny Hill Award. Day 9, Goedo versus Yoshikaze. This was definitely one you kind of left scratching your head and going, what the heck are we doing?
Yeah, I believe my notes for this match was just very sloppy.
Yeah, very sloppy. Swings and misses and a few spins and lots of air grabs. Just bad.
Yeah, I feel like I heard the Benny Hill theme going during the slow-mo replay of that one. That one was awesome.
Yeah, we now have 2 Basho in a row where the Benny Hill Award has applied.
Yeah.
Can we make it 3? Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Next award, the Boom Headshot Award, goes to Hakuho on day 14. Completely disoriented Endo and clinched the Yusho. Jake, you have a little bit more. Yokozuna Jake.
Thank you.
You have a little more to comment on this, correct?
Yeah, this one, this is something Hakuho has done a lot in the past, actually. But he led with the forearm off the Tachiai, and I mean, I haven't seen it much in sumo, but I mean, you see it in in UFC or in NFL when guys get hit, you can tell that when their legs go wobbly for a second. And Endo was definitely knocked partially out. His knees gave out, and he kind of crumpled a little bit. Managed to keep on his feet. That was pretty impressive. But, it was enough for Hakuho to get him the rest of the way out. He clinched his Yusho in that same match. But, Endo stayed awake, but just
barely.
Just barely.
Barely stayed awake on that one. Moving on, we go to the Y Award. In this case, also given to Hakuho on day 11 when he called for a mata after his loss to Yoshikaze. He just wouldn't re-enter the ring and just kept staring at the judges like it was a clean start. It was clean. What are you complaining about?
I mean, I get it. Like we were talking about, heat of the moment, emotional guy. But that's definitely one of the most memorable moments for me.
Yep.
Now we have our Ouch Award. Now, there were several injuries that happened this Basho, unfortunately. However, the worst of them happened on day 15 to, unfortunately, Chiyono Kuni. He was wrestling against Takekaze, and when he was going to throw him out of the ring, his ankle popped out under Takekaze and slammed into the top of the straw bale. And it hurt him bad enough that he was just limping even just to go back for the final bow. I don't see that he got taken out on the stretcher, but I would assume he, not the stretcher, the gigantic wheelchair.
They did eventually call it, just like in the
Did
hallway.
they?
Oh,
Yeah.
they did? Okay. Yeah, he looked like he was in extreme pain.
He did manage to win the match, though.
He did.
Yeah.
But even Takekaze
But
was
at what
like,
price?
oh boy.
Yeah, didn't the injury happen like as it was
As he
being
was
finished?
throwing.
As it was being
yeah.
finished,
Yeah.
the final move, Takekaze is flying out of the ring and injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like he had at least one shove after the injury. Like he just kind of just shoved through it.
But then he crumpled. Then
Yeah,
he
then he
instantly crumpled.
But
Yeah.
he pulled it through for the win, though. I think that was impressive.
Now, last award, entertaining. I'm going to open this up to you guys. There were a lot of excellent matches, a lot of great things in this Basho. I just want to go around the table. What do you guys think?
I think the one that kind of sticks with me the most, Hakuho versus Takara Fuji. This is one where it looked like Takara Fuji had Hakuho dead to rights, not once, but twice. He had Hakuho turned around facing the outside of the doyo, which is pretty much a death position in any
It's
other
a death
match.
sentence, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a combination of Hakuho just being lightning quick and Takara Fuji literally being half turtle.
He's molasses quick.
Yeah. That Hakuho was able to recover from that position twice and still take out Takara Fuji. Very entertaining match and something you really don't see all that often.
Yeah, my favorite match of the Basho was when Kaisei and Chiyoshima absolutely destroyed each other. They were going at it. They had some great judo grappling positions. They both looked to have throws locked in, only to have it turned around at the last second. Chiyoshima got a pretty good leg hook in there. It looked like he was gonna finish it, but then as they sort of start working their way towards the edge, Kaisei just barely gets the upper hand, and they both judo throw each other right on their own heads. Kaisei only hitting the ground slightly later, but technically,
impressive.
yeah, no, that one was awesome, and I'm surprised that Chiyoshima got up after that, because that's probably a combined like 700 pounds of man ish.
Ooh, yeah.
That almost all of it seemed to land right on his
Right
face.
on his head.
Yeah. The favorite match of the Basho for me was probably Koto Shogiku. I forget what he was going against, but it was on day 13.
Was that the
Oh, baby.
Chiyonokuni?
That was Chiyonkuni.
Yep.
Chino
That was
Kuni,
Chino
yeah. It was close. It was a close match of where Chino Kuni almost throws Koto Shogiku, but he does like this patented kind of balance check of where he just kind of goes off to the side, but he's kind of like squatting at the same time.
Yeah, it's like he's doing the splits and just kind of hopping from one foot to the other.
Exactly. It's definitely signature Koto Shogiku, and I love watching him do that. And then they kind of get to, I believe it was kind of like holding on to each other in the middle, and then Koto Shogiku does his like little bumpy over to the edge, and then finally just forces him out. Or actually, I think he threw him to the
No,
ground.
in
threw
that
him.
one,
Yeah,
he
he
did
threw
like
him.
a good off balancing belly bump, and then just did a throw, and Chiyonkuni went all the way over. Yeah, I mean that was just the day after he went up against, I believe that was Shohozan, where he had the other excellent belly bumping match.
Yeah,
That one was awesome.
that was good. There were some really good matches. For
There
Koto
were.
Shogiku.
And see, for me, I have to go back to Kisno Sato versus Shohozan. Ryan touched on it. Shohozan, excellent showing in all of his basho. Maybe not the record to prove it, but in day 5, he caught Kisno Sato on his heels from the get-go, had him up against the ropes, and then right at the edge of the doyo, he actually Kisno Sato manages a throw and gets Shohozan out of the ring first.
Yeah.
I was quite impressed with that, since Kisno Sato was dead to rights from the beginning.
Yeah, that match kind of seemed like it might have been the turnaround point for Kisano Sato. He like had this adversity against him. He was right up against the bales for most of the match, and he was able to turn it around and throw Shohozan over. And it looked like that was going to be the turnaround point for Kisano Sato, but that clearly wasn't the case, as he went on to lose. I think it was probably his remaining 3 matches before he pulled out due to his myriad of injuries.
Yeah.
So another disappointing showing from Kisano Sato.
Just because I feel stupid about it, I misread my handwriting. That was Koto Shogoku versus Tochiozan was like my favorite belly bump match ever.
Oh, okay.
That's the one that I meant to say.
He also had a good one against Shohozan, though.
Shohozan, anybody who faced Shohozan had an awesome, exciting match.
Yeah.
And now we're going to dive into a special award. Special shout out for the Fantasy Sumo. This is the Yama Award given to our guest player, Amy, who completely destroyed us
Just kicked our asses 10 ways to Sunday.
with 70 points.
Yeah, for reference, 70 points. Second place was 48. Yes, Ryan, it was you, Ryan.
Thank you.
After that, we had Flaret coming in with 41, Mac with 36, and I barely managed 29.
Yeah.
So I got less than half the points that that our new boss has.
Yeah, and for a little bit more reference, Fleric won the first Basho Fantasy Series, and he only had 52 points. So Amy managed to get 18 more points on top of that. That's definitely going to be a tough mark for anyone to beat, as she had Hakuho and Hokuto Fuji on her team. So the
Those
Yusho
two
winner
combined.
and one of the June
Yeah.
Yusho winners.
Those two combined would have beaten me and beaten Mac, and beaten Fleric.
Yeah.
So yeah, great draft, and maybe we need to stop having guests so that we don't get destroyed quite so badly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a poor showing. Not good.
I want to feel good again.
But also, we'd like to remind you that we have a contest going on for our next round of fantasy. You have to name our little mascot.
We have a picture of him on Twitter from a while ago. We'll send out another picture when we post this episode. But we're looking for as many name ideas as we can for our little plastic sumo toy mascot.
Yep, we've gotten a couple, but we'd love to see plenty more. We've got a few months 6 weeks until the next basho starts, so we need to get this going underway. So you got plenty of time.
And then last, how about our favorite overall moment of the basho for each of us? Mac, what do you think?
Thank you, Yokozuna Jake.
You're welcome.
For me, it was actually seeing Kiseno Sato's weakness. Now, and when I say that, as in a lot of these Yokozuna, you see they're just amazing. Like, there isn't one fault that you can find with any of their sumo if they're healthy.
If they're healthy.
Correct. However, we saw that Kiseno Sato is very weak against the pusher thrusters. So for me, it was kind of fascinating just to see the gap in this guy's ability with that particular type of rikishi.
You could say that that's partly due to his injuries. I mean, I know that his more significant injury is that shoulder, that chest. So that could be part of it. But yeah, it's kind of fun to see now that we have been watching it for long enough. We can kind of at least begin to understand the styles and the different intricacies that are causing the losses or causing the wins for different wrestlers.
And we do know that style is effective against him because he gave up 5 kinboshi.
Yeah. And they all started coming pretty fast at the end of his run in this basho. Like we said before, he had 3 consecutive losses before he ended up pulling out. Fleric, what about you? What's your favorite moment from this basho?
I'm going to go with there are many moments, but I think the Onosho's Mawashi change on day 8.
The power of the Mawashi.
That made me giggle, and it culminated to the last day. Like, he had to win that match to get the Maki Koshi, and stay in the Sanyaku. With
Kachikoshi.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, you're entirely right. Kachikoshi. To stay in the Sanyaku with his rival, Takakeishu, who's going to be jumping up there. And, it was the perfect ending. And it started with that Mawashi.
Yeah. What about you, Jake?
I think for me it was Shohozan going absolutely nuts in every single match. I mean, if it was possible to give out a Fighting Spirit award for somebody with a Makikoshi or a losing record.
A significant losing record.
A significantly losing record.
But excellent heart.
But yes, exactly, though. That's the thing. He had excellent heart. We mentioned it was in his hometown, so that's probably part of it. But damn, he just went all out trying to kill everybody that he could, and he had at least one casualty with Takakeisho's face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think my favorite moment, my favorite thing is the rise of Hokuto Fuji, Takakeisho, but we've talked about them enough. I think my favorite thing about this basho is just compared to the Aki basho, I mean, we ended up kind of in a similar place, but the quality of the sumo in the Kyushu basho, I feel was just far superior than we saw in the Aki basho. There were just so many henkas that we saw in the Aki basho. I counted 2, maybe.
There were a handful.
Yeah, you can count on one hand how many clear henkas there were in this basho.
And you can count on no hands how many blatant ones were not Arawashi.
Yeah.
Or Kotoyuki.
I'm pretty sure. Oh, did Kotoyuki have a bad one too? No. I only know that the only time that I was like, oh man, what a henka, that I'm gonna remember that one. That the only one I remember was Arawashi. It was just worst.
Arawashi's good for 1 or 2 of those every basho.
Oh, minimum.
You have to keep them on their toes.
Whatever.
But yeah, I think just the overall increase in the quality of the matches, we had a hard time figuring out what our most entertaining matches were just because there were so many of them for this basho.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's going to wrap up our discussion for the Kyushu basho in 2017. The next basho, the Hatsu basho, is going to start on January 14th. And we want you to don't tune out from Grand Sumo Breakdown for the rest of the year. We are planning at least 1 or 2 more bonus episodes, including a year-end award show for Grand Sumo Breakdown, where we're going to be awarding Breakout Rikishi of the Year, Outstanding Rikishi of the Year, and a bunch of other fun things. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Until then, you can rate us on iTunes. If you enjoy this podcast, please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes or any of your other favorite podcast listening services.
You can find us on Twitter at GSumo Breakdown and our Facebook at Grand Sumo Breakdown.
You can check out our blog, grandsumobreakdown.wordpress.com, for our fantasy sumo league and other goodies.
If you have any questions, comments, or corrections, drop us a line at grandsumobreakdown@gmail.com.
All right, we'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to Grand Sumo Breakdown. Until next time, throw your salt high and keep moving forward.
Mata mata. Mata mata. Mata mata. Mata mata. Mata mata. I wanna hold him till the Gyoji takes his place. Stare him, bear him, flare him, hit the Tachi-ai with grace. I love it. On Basho matches badass Rikishi from the start, but fall behind your betters as your Yusho falls apart. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh, oh, don't have the heart. Bad move from the start. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh, oh, don't have the heart. Bad move from the start. Can't get by, can't reach mine. No, I fall in the Yusho race. He's not a badass Rikishi. Can't get by, can't reach mine. No, I fall in the Yusho race. He's not a badass Rikishi. You show race. You show race. Mata mata. You show race. You show race. Mata mata. I wanna throw them with Okure Nage. Okuredashi's lot more fun without me. I don't love it. Hatake Kome use the shoulder, back, and arms, but Fumedashi's got to be the worst move of the art. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh, oh, don't have the heart. Bad move from the start. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, oh, oh, don't have the heart. Bad move from the start. Can't get by, can't reach mine. No, I fall in the Yusho race. He's not a badass Rikishi. Can't get by, can't reach mine. No, I fall in the Yusho race. He's not a badass Rikishi. You show race. You show race. Mata mata. You show race. You show race. Mata. Can't do Zori Tachitori, Sado, Oreo, Ashitori. Cause I'm bumming, got no lovin'. I keep trying, won't be lying. Spitting 6 skills with this rhyming. But that basho, it's the hot show. Take your cushion, don't be pushing. Sold out shows, be watching doyos. Ranking Coochie and them Jurios.
That's okay.
Can't get by, can't reach mine. No, I fall in the Yusho race. He's not a badass Rikishi. Can't get by, can't reach mine. No, I fall in the Yusho race. He's not a badass Rikishi. Can't get by, can't reach mine. No, I fall in the Yusho race. He's not a badass Rikishi. Can't get by, can't reach mine. No, I fall in the Yusho race. He's not a badass Rikishi. Can't get by. Damn it.
Oh, he's still going.
Race. He's not a badass Rikishi. You show race. You show race. Mata mata. 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 You show. Mata mata. You show race. You show race. Mata mata. You show race.
Oh my God.
You show race. Mata mata.
How long is
You
this
show
song?
race. You show race. Mata mata.
I would like to point out that the punishment was a verse and a chorus, and Mac just went and wrote the whole lyrics for an entire song.
If I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose with style.
If anyone can lose, it's Mac.
That's right.
The worst bar I'm going to have that stuck in my head.